comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this very special edition of a Funko Popcast, the last podcast of 2021. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shaddy.
And today, it's a very special podcast because it is the top 50 Funko Pops of the entire year of 2021. Always the most wonderful time of the year, no pun intended to the Christmas music, for a Funko Popcast, because I always enjoy doing these kinds of podcasts. This is actually the third top 50 list we have done in a Funko Popcast history. And this year, I can say, was a really tough top 50 list to do, not only because there were so many great pops in the year of 2021 compared to the last 2 years, but also because we weren't sure of some of the pops we wanted to add because of the worldwide shipment delay. There were some that actually got added last minute because they ended up actually getting released. And I don't know what your thoughts are about this year's top 50 list.
I mean, this year's top 50 list, I feel like, is pretty crazy. I feel like with the last couple of years, there was definitely pops on the list that I wanted or do own, but I feel like this year, like, a majority of these pops are like needs for a lot of collections, especially a collection like mine where I do collect a lot of stuff. I would say that there's not very many categories of Funko Pops that I don't really collect. Maybe like Marvel and Disney I don't really collect a whole lot of, but I still do collect some of it. And I mean, there's just a ton of really great pops on the list this year.
So for those that are new to the podcast and how we do the top 50 list is essentially we pick obviously 50 pops, but it's not necessarily 50 that we personally think. There's obviously pops that we really like that are on this list, but there's also pops we take to consideration that we know a lot of you guys really enjoyed in the year of 2021. And how we did this list is essentially we had our own ratings. We had a detail rating and we had a personal reaction rating. And we kind of did our own ratings between the two of us, divided it by two. The whole explanation will be in the description below how we did all this, including how the overall hype, which is another rating, is me reading through Instagram comments and kind of looking at what the hype was there and did a little calculation there. Once again, in the comment section below, if you guys really want to know how this is all done, and then it all ends up being in an overall score that determines which spot the 50 pops are on, just because it's just so difficult for us to essentially figure out what truly would be number one and what truly would be number 50 and what are the other pops in between in a certain order, because I might like a pop that want to go number one, but MD might think, no, this should be number one. So it just basically makes things easier and kind of decides for us on how this top 50 list is done. So MD, are you ready for the top 50 list right now?
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right, so starting off with number 50, which for the first time in a Funko Popcast history, this top 50 list does not start off with a Pokemon pop. Coming in at number 50, it is a Pop Disney 2-pack from the movie Up. It is the Ellie and Carl wedding 2-pack. Now, this had an overall hype of 8.9, detail rating of 7.1, and personal reaction rating of 4.7, with an overall score of 6.9 out of 10. And this was a Pop in a Box exclusive, I should mention. And also, I should mention, I'll be reading off the different ratings while MD will describe his opinion on the pops, essentially if it deserved to be in that spot or a little higher for this, just to save time.
I feel like this is a good start to the list. I mean, people love the Up Pops, and I feel like the Carl and Ellie 2-packs always get a lot of love as well. But I feel like this isn't the best one. I know we've seen that like pop. I want to say it's like a Pop Deluxe one where they're painting the fence. I feel like that was probably like the best one for just overall hype for sure. And definitely like the detail in that one was amazing. And the pop looked really great. So this one is a little lackluster, but I do think it is a really decent pop. So I think 50 is like a perfect spot for this.
All right, coming in at number 49, this is number 809 in the Pop Marvel lineup. From Fantastic Four, it is the 10-inch Galaxy Galactus with Silver Surfer. Now, this was a FunCon exclusive, limited to 1,500 pieces. This had an overall hype of 4.6, detail of 8, and personal reaction of 8.3, giving it an overall score out of 10 of 6.97, 0.07 higher than the Ellie and Carl Wedding 2-pack.
I'm actually very surprised that this pop made it to like a position in the top or the bottom 10, let's say. Whereas I thought for sure maybe this could have been closer to like the 30 range because this is a great pop, but I guess it makes sense because some people might not exactly like this. You do have the normal 10-inch version, and then you also do have both of the blacklight versions, the common and the chase. So it makes sense that there's not like so much hype on this, but this is a great pop. I mean, it's so beautiful.
Coming in at number 48, this is number 986 in the pop animation lineup from My Hero Academia. It is Gang Orca. Now, this was a fun con shared with Hot Topic exclusive with an overall hype rating of 6.1, detail of 8, and reaction of 7, with an overall score of 7.03.
This is a really cool looking pop. I really like this pop, and I think they did a really good job of translating this character from the show into Funko Pop form. I feel like the reason why it is at this position on the list is due to it just being from My Hero Academia. Let's say if this was like a Pokemon pop, it definitely would have got more of a reaction, I would say. But considering I feel like My Hero Academia definitely does have a big fan base, it doesn't have a huge fan base like, let's say, something like Marvel or like I just mentioned, Pokemon. So it would have came higher then. But this is a great pop, and I'm glad to see it on the top 50 list.
Now, this next pop, I actually think there's going to be a lot of hate from people that we have this pop this low, essentially, but it's how the ratings work, I guess. This is number 827 in the pop Marvel lineup from WandaVision. It is, in quotations, Pietro Maximoff. Now, this was a Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype of 7.7, detail of 7.9, and personal reaction of 6.3, giving it an overall score of 7.3.
Yeah, I could definitely see some people being upset that it's this low on the list. I feel like the reason the reaction is so low is by the time that this pop got announced slash released, WandaVision was kind of coming to the end. I feel like there was only maybe a couple episodes left, and the show really did taper off at the end. It wasn't as good as it was, let's say, the first like 6 episodes were really, really cool, whereas the end of the show just didn't really do it for me. So I think that that's probably why the reaction got a little lower. This pop's a good pop, but I feel like there are a lot of better ones on the list. So I'm not really surprised that it was this low on the list.
Coming in at number 46, this is number 985 in the pop animation lineup. From My Hero Academia, it is the 6-inch Fat Gum. Now, this was a fun con shared with GameStop exclusive. This had an overall hype rating of 6.7, detail of 8.2, and personal reaction of 7, with an overall score of 7.3, the same score as the Pietro Maximoff, except the detail and personal reaction rating was higher than the Pietro Maximoff, making the 7.3 for Fat Gum higher than Pietro.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense to me, actually. I do like this pop better than the Pietro, so it makes sense that it's above him. And I'm not surprised that it's very similar in like its spot to the Gang Orca because they were both announced together and they're both My Hero Academia pops. I do think the Fat Gum is better, and it's a cool looking 6-inch pop too. So I do think it gets the edge over the last 2 pops that we talked about.
Coming in at number 45, this is number 239 in the Pop Rocks lineup from the same lineup as this person's name. It is the Blacklight Jimi Hendrix. This was a Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype of 5.9, detail of 8.2, and personal reaction of 8.0, giving it an overall score of 7.37, 0.07 higher than Fat Gum.
This pop is really cool. There definitely are some imperfections in my mind about it. So I'm glad that it made it on the list, but at the same time, I'm really glad that it wasn't super high up. It's actually one of the more lower pops. I think that this pop is kind of a good pioneer pop to kind of start off a lineup of Blacklight Pop Rocks, which I think could be really cool considering there are a lot of really awesome Pop Rocks pops that would look amazing in the blacklight form. And this Jimi Hendrix is pretty good. The other one is pretty good as well. Some think that one is better than the others, but I like this one with the blue face. I think that that definitely does look pretty cool.
Coming in at number 44, this is number 1126 in the Pop Disney lineup. From Tangled, it is Flynn. Now, this was a AAA anime exclusive with an overall hype of 9.2, detail of 7.1, and a personal reaction rating of 6, giving it an overall score of 7.43.
This pop is interesting because there's not a whole lot of things that are special with this pop besides the poster makes it look really cool. But because it's the first ever Flynn pop, which is just amazing to think about, that like Tangled pops have been out for quite a while and we're just seeing a Flynn now in 2021 is just crazy. So it definitely does have a lot of hype towards it. Our personal reaction is not super high because I think both of us don't really collect Disney pops per se, but it is a good pop. And I feel like this thing probably sold really well because, I mean, if you want a Flynn pop, you have to buy this one.
Coming in at number 43, this is a Pop Marvel 2-pack from WandaVision. It is Billy and Tommy. Now, this was an Emerald City Comic Con shared with Amazon exclusive. This had an overall hype of 8.1, detail of 7.9, and a personal reaction of 6.5, giving it an overall score of 7.5.
This 2-pack is great. I'm glad to see it over the Pietro because I mean it's a 2-pack. It looks so cool. I love how they have the Halloween pumpkin jack-o'-lantern baskets. I think that this thing is far beyond better than the Pietro. So I'm glad with the spot that it made it to because I feel like there are a ton of pops that are better than this one, but this is like the cream of the crop for WandaVision pops.
Coming in at number 42, this is Pop Albums number 4 from Linkin Park. It is the Hybrid Theory. Now, this had an overall hype of 9.4, detail of 6.6, and a personal reaction of 6.6, giving it an overall score of 7.53, 0.03 higher than the Billy and Tommy 2-pack.
This is a really awesome looking pop albums. I mean, it is only number 4, but let's say we compare them to all the pop albums besides the deluxe ones that are out right now. This one is a lot different than those other ones. The other ones, let's say some albums don't even have like a character on them. So they just do like the lead band member, the most famous band member, let's say. And then some do have like a character on them. Whereas this is kind of a little bit different of an art form and it came into pop form very, very well. It's so different and so neat that I think it does give an edge on a lot of those really awesome pop albums. So this is so cool. Glad it made it on the list.
Coming in at number 41, this is number 1103 in the Pop television lineup. From The Office, it is the Dwight Schrute shirtless chase pop. Now, this was a Chalice Collectibles exclusive. This had an overall hype rating of 6.3, detail of 7.7, and personal reaction of 8.6, giving it an overall score of 7.53, same score as the Hybrid Theory, except it had a higher detail and personal reaction rating over Hybrid Theory, making Dwight's 7.53 overall score higher.
This pop is just amazing, and I do think that it is a little bit deserving of a better spot. I don't know if that's a little bit of a bias thing, considering that the episode that this is from of The Office is the first episode I ever watched. And I mean, I've seen that episode so many times. I love the basketball scene. I think it's just so smart for a show. And this is an awesome looking chase as well. I mean, it's a lot different from the common, which is great.
Number 40 on the list. This is number 643 in the Pop Games lineup. From Pokemon, it is Mew. Now, Mew had an overall hype rating of 7.3, a detail rating of 7.2, with the personal reaction of 8.2, giving it an overall score of 7.57, 0.04 higher than shirtless Dwight Schrute.
This pop is really interesting because if you guys haven't noticed yet, this is the first common 3.75-inch pop that has made it on the list. And I think it says a lot about this pop because this thing's great. I mean, you have the base on him, which makes Mew look like he's floating. The blue eyes stand out very well on the pink, which I think makes it look great. And I mean, come on, it's Mew, it's Pokemon. There isn't really much more you can say about that.
Coming in at number 39, this is number 25 in the Pop Town lineup from Halloween. It is the Michael Myers with Myers House. Now, this was a Spirit Halloween exclusive with an overall hype of 8, detail of 8.2, and personal reaction of 6.5, having an overall score of 7.57, same score as Mew, except it had a higher overall hype and detail rating, making Michael Myers 7.57 higher than Mew's.
This pop is really cool. I mean, Spirit Halloween pops are awesome. I love that Spirit Halloween gets exclusive pops, but I feel like the reason why this didn't make it higher is because really what you're getting is that awesome looking house. Whereas we've seen a ton of different Michael Myers pops, and there's something about the new Michael Myers like head sculpt that I just find really odd. I don't know if it's because it looks a little too cartoony, but I definitely do like the OG head sculpt a lot better. So I feel like if we would have got this maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now when Pop Towns kind of first came around, I think that this probably could have made it higher on the list.
Coming in at number 38, this is number 1162 in the Pop television lineup. From The Simpsons, it is the glow-in-the-dark glowing Mr. Burns. Now, this is the more common version of the pop because there is a chase version, a previous exclusive, which had an overall hype rating of 9.4, detail rating of 6.2, with a personal reaction rating of 7.1, giving it an overall score of 7.73.
This pop is amazing. As a huge Simpsons fan and collector, I do have both this common version and the chase, and I will say that the common version is way better than the chase, especially in person, because if you have it in the light, it looks like Mr. Burns in his normal colors, and then when you kind of charge it up with, like, let's say a black light, when you bring it into the darkness, it glows very green, which looks great. Whereas with the chase, it's kind of always green. The glow on the chase is also very awesome, but I feel like with the common, you get more money's worth because you can see the yellow skin and the white gown that he has on and all the details a lot better than in the chase version.
All right, coming in at number 37, this is number 1104 in the Pop television lineup. From The Office, it is the chase variant of Creed Bratton. Now, this was a specialty series exclusive with an overall hype rating of 8.1, detail of 7.8, and personal reaction of 7.4, giving it an overall score of 7.77, 0.04 higher than the glowing Mr. Burns.
This pop is also awesome. I don't think it's better than the Chased Dwight, but I'm not surprised that it made it higher because it's Creed. We've seen so many Dwights, whereas we haven't seen a ton of Creeds, and this Creed is arguably the best one. And I'm really glad that's a specialty series because there's just something about that sticker that I love on pops, and this is a perfect pop to do that.
Coming in at number 36, this is Pop television number 1102 from Seinfeld. It is The Kramer. Now, this was a Target exclusive with an overall hype of 6.4, detail of 8.4, and a personal reaction rating of 8.5, giving it an overall score of 7.77, same score as the Bloody Creed Bratton, except it had a higher detail and personal reaction rating, therefore making the Kramers 7.77 higher than Bloody Creed Bratton.
This pop is so cool. I'm so thankful for the Seinfeld set because it has a lot of different awesome pops. And this was something that for some reason I didn't think of ever happening when I thought like, oh, what kind of Seinfeld pops could they do? I never thought of something like this. And that's probably due to the fact that we're just kind of seeing pops in this style with the comic covers, with the albums, with the game covers, stuff like that. This is just like those, and this is amazing because I would say that the Kramer painting / picture from Seinfeld is probably the most iconic thing from the show. I'm sure a lot of people could point that out and say that's Seinfeld rather than, let's say, seeing maybe a picture of Elaine or even Yev Kasim, the soup Nazi. So this makes a lot of sense. This pop is amazing, and I don't know if there'll ever be a better Seinfeld pop.
Coming in at number 35, this is number 482 in the Pop Star Wars lineup. From The Mandalorian, it is Luke Skywalker with Grogu. Now, this had an overall hype rating of 6.6, detail of 8.1, and personal reaction of 8.6, giving it an overall score of 7.77, the same as both Bloody Creed Bratton and the Kramer, except Luke Skywalker had a higher overall hype and personal reaction rating over the Kramer.
This Luke Skywalker with Grogu is a really amazing pop. I'm sure most people by now have seen The Mandalorian, and this is an amazing, kind of very heartwarming end to an awesome season, I guess you could say. And I feel like the overall hype, I feel like should be way higher on this pop. It's just very iconic, and I feel like it is one of the best Star Wars pops that we've seen in 2021.
Coming in at number 34, this is number 23 in the pop albums lineup. From Guns N' Roses, this is the Axl Rose / and Duff McKagan Appetite for Destruction Pop Deluxe albums. Now, this was a Walmart exclusive with an overall hype of 7.4, detail of 8.4, and personal reaction of 8, giving it an overall score of 7.93.
This pop really does have a soft spot in my heart because the Guns N' Roses 3 pops that originally came out were some of the first pops that I ever bought. They were definitely in like the top 50 pops, I would say, that I ever owned. I think it looks great. I love how they gave them the skeleton faces. I think they could have easily just not have done that, and this pop still would have been pretty decent. But because they did do the skeleton faces, it definitely made it higher on the list. But it does have potential to be better if they would have added the other 2 band members like you see on the album's artwork. So for that reason, coming in at 34, I think is a really decent spot.
All right, coming in at number 33 on this list, this is number 110 in the pop ad icons lineup. From McDonald's, it is Birdie the Early Bird. Now, this has an overall hype of 7 with a detail rating of 8.4 and a personal reaction rating of 8.4, giving it an overall score of 7.93, which is the same score as Appetite for Destruction. And although Appetite for Destruction has a higher overall hype rating and Birdie has a higher personal reaction rating, both Birdie and Appetite for Destruction both had an 8.4 in detail. However, Birdie's is higher because hers was not rounded from 8.35 like Appetite's was, making Birdie the Early Bird higher up on the list for the 7.93.
Before I talk about this pop, I actually want to discuss about how kind of awesome it is the way that DK is doing this kind of ranking where these numbers get so close and then a pop like this does go over a pop like Appetite for Destruction just because of a little minuscule number, considering if you compare their numbers, they are pretty dang close. So Birdie, I'm actually really glad that it is over Appetite for Destruction because I feel like with Birdie, this was a pop that I wanted before any of the McDonald's pops were even announced. And when it didn't get announced with the original wave, I was a little bit heartbroken. I couldn't believe it, considering at the time we didn't really know if we were going to be getting more McDonald's pops. I mean, now that they have the license, you gotta have to figure, oh yeah, we will be getting some, but who knows? Because sometimes we do get a set of pops and then that's kind of just it.
Coming in at number 32, this is number 1,138 in the pop movies lineup. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to The Secret of the Ooze, it is the Metallic Super Shredder. Now, this was a Target exclusive with an overall hype rating of 7.2, detail of 8.5, and personal reaction of 8.1, giving it an overall score of 7.93, same rating as Birdie, except Super Shredder has a higher overall hype and detail rating, making Super Shredder higher up on this list.
This metallic Super Shredder is so awesome. I can't wait to add it to my collection. I do have the common, but I definitely need to get the metallic because it is better. Is it better than Birdie? Maybe. Maybe it's better than Birdie. I think that that's up to an opinion of if you really love TMNT or if you love McDonald's, which are 2 fandoms of mine that I just collect tons of, not just Funko related. So I think that the Super Shredder is awesome. It is in a pretty good spot on this list, all things considered, coming in at 32.
Coming in at number 31, this is number 1052 in the Pop Movies lineup. From 8 Mile, it is B Rabbit. Now, this had an overall hype rating of 8.8 with detail of 7.4 and personal reaction of 7.9, giving it an overall score of 8.03.
This pop is really cool, and I was super excited when it got announced. And it does give you a little bit of a taste of an M&M pop, though I think for the majority of people, it did leave a bitter taste in their mouth because a lot of people really did just want a Pop Rocks M&M. But hopefully going into 2022, we do see actual M&M pops, and they will definitely make the top 50 list.
Number 30 for this list. This is number 843 in the Pop Games lineup. From Pokemon, it is Charizard. Charizard has an overall hype rating of 6.8, detail of 8.2, and personal reaction rating of 9.4, giving it an overall score of 8.13, 0.10 higher than B Rabbit.
I mean, I feel like there's not a whole lot to say about this. It's a Pokemon pop. So obviously, a lot of people do love the Pokemon pops, not to mention that it's Charizard, arguably a lot of people's fan favorite Pokemon. I mean, when you look at the trading cards, look at how valuable Charizard cards are. So would this pop ever be valuable? I don't know, because it is a common pop, and I feel like there's a ton of them, because why not? Because people are going to want this Charizard more than a lot of Pokemon pops. This is arguably one of the best Pokemon pops to date. So coming in at 30, I think, is a really decent spot for it.
Coming in at number 29, this is number 27 in the Pop Town lineup. From Harry Potter, it is the Albus Dumbledore with Hogwarts. Now, this has an overall hype rating of 8.1, detail of 9.3, and personal reaction of 7, giving it an overall score of 8.13. Same score as Charizard, except it has a higher overall hype and detail rating, making Albus Dumbledore with Hogwarts higher than Charizard on this list.
Yeah, this pop is really cool. I mean, the Dumbledore itself is a great looking pop. And then you have the Pop Towns of Hogwarts, which is very surprising that we're just now seeing the Hogwarts Pop Town, considering there have been multiple Harry Potter Pop Towns. And how have they not done Hogwarts yet? I don't know. But I think that a lot of people are very glad. I mean, Harry Potter fans must be going nuts for this pop because it's Hogwarts and it looks so great.
Coming in at number 28, and I'm super surprised this pop made it this high on the list. This is number 234 in the Pop Rocks lineup. From Green Day, it is Billy Joe Armstrong. Now, this has an overall hype rating of 6.9, detail of 8.4, and a personal reaction rating of 9.5, giving it an overall score of 8.27.
This pop's amazing, and I'm also kind of surprised that it made it on the list this high up, because really it is just a common pop. It may be not the greatest pop in the world, but I feel like the reaction, which you can definitely see here, is super high, because Green Day pops were something that me and DK had wanted since probably, I would say, around 2016 is probably when we first started talking about it. Like, wow, there's no Green Day pops. That's weird. And then you go into 2017, it's like, no Green Day pops. And then I think by 2018, it was like, wow, how is there no Green Day pops still? And then finally, a couple years after that, in 2021, we got the announcement for Green Day Pops, and we went wild. This is awesome. I feel like there are more Green Day Pops that will be coming out, and I feel like maybe some of those might be better than this Billy Joe. But to kick off Green Day with this Billy Joe is just so awesome, and we're so thankful to have Green Day Pops finally.
Coming in at number 27, this is number 72 in the Pop Retro Toys lineup. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this is the 6-inch Krang. Now, this was an Entertainment Earth exclusive with an overall hype of 8.1, detail of 8.5, and personal reaction of 8.3, giving it an overall score of a solid 8.3.
This pop is actually really awesome. I feel like this is one of the better Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys that we've seen. Though it is in the retro toys lineup, I think that makes a lot of sense considering the Krang action figure itself is so cool. And then turning it into a pop just worked out very, very well. And I'm glad that they did it this way, where you have Krang in the robotic suit and they didn't just do, let's say, a normal like 4-inch Krang of just like his little brain squid little guy that he kind of is. They actually gave him that robotic suit, which is just so awesome. I own this pop and I love it.
Coming in at number 26, and we'll be closing off this half of the top 50 list. This is number 875 in the pop animation lineup from Demon Slayer. It is the Flocked Inosuke Hashibira. This was a Chalice Collectibles exclusive with an overall hype of 9.2, detail of 8.4, and personal reaction of 7.4, giving it an overall score of 8.33, 0.03 higher than the 6-inch Krang.
Yeah, I do feel like this pop is probably better than the Krang in some different ways, considering like it's flocked, which is awesome. It's from Demon Slayer, which is a newer lineup, and of course, like anime pops, people go nuts for. And I mean, this pop itself is really, really cool. I mean, you have that boar head, which is awesome. I feel like this pop was the one that had the chase version where he is unmasked, but I feel like this one really is the best of Inosuke pops for sure, considering we do have quite a few of them now. But this one is just like leaps and bounds better than those ones. This is a great pop, and I'm not surprised that it made it almost to the top half of the top 50 list.
Now, kicking off the top half of this top 50 list, this is number 23 in the pop, or sorry, number 22. I wrote 23 by accident, but it's number 22 in the pop albums lineup from Kiss. It is the Demon, Star Child, the Spaceman, and the Catman glow in the dark pops for the album Destroyer. Now, this is a Walmart exclusive with an overall hype of 7.3, detail of 8.7, and personal reaction of 9, giving it an overall score of 8.33, same score as the Flocked Inosuke, except it had a higher detail and personal reaction rating, making Destroyer be the pop that kicks off the top half of the list.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great pop to start off the top half. This is so cool. I'm so happy about this. Destroyer by Kiss was one of those albums that I wanted to see in pop albums form ever since the pop albums kind of got announced. And this isn't exactly the way I wanted to see it. I kind of wanted to see it in more of like a pop deluxe kind of form where you have them in those poses. Whereas we're getting the new wave of the Kiss Pops in glow in the dark versions, which I think is actually pretty cool, considering if you look at the OG wave of Kiss Pops, those chase variants were glow in the dark.
Coming in at number 24, this is number 1,148 in the pop movies lineup from Gremlins 2. It is Daffy. Now, this was a Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype of 7.8, detail of 9, and personal reaction of 8.4, giving it an overall score of 8.4, 0.07 higher than the Kiss Pop Deluxe albums.
I'm actually kind of surprised that this pop made it this high on the list. Not to say it's a bad pop, because I do love this pop and I think it's amazing, but I just didn't think that it would make it this high for some reason. And this pop is cool, Funko Shop exclusive, which is great. I mean, getting new Gremlins pops is awesome. Daffy is a pop that I wanted to see for quite some time in the Gremlins lineup, and I'm glad that they are extending the Gremlins lineup. This pop is so cool. I mean, it's got a lot of detail. It's almost like a pop deluxe, considering he's sitting in like a pot. He's got all the noodles on his head, which is his best moment from the movie, I would say for sure.
Coming in at number 23, this is number 884 in the Pop Marvel lineup from What If. It is the 6-inch Doctor Strange Supreme Unleashed. Now, this was a Festival of Fun shared with GameStop exclusive. This had an overall hype of 8.3, detail of 9.6, and a personal reaction rating of 7.3, giving it an overall score of 8.4. Same score as Daffy, except it has a higher overall hype and detail rating, making Doctor Strange Supreme Unleashed higher than Daffy on this list.
This is another pop that I'm very surprised about making it even in the top half of this list because it is kind of a weird pop, but at the same time, I feel like what is really saving this pop is how much detail is in this thing because there's a whole lot going on with it. I mean, there's a lot of different colors, which I think look really great. I think this thing looks phenomenal.
Coming in at number 22, this is number 907 in the pop television lineup from The Simpsons. This is Automan. Now, this was a Target exclusive, or more specifically, as people would say, Target Con exclusive, with an overall hype of 8.5, detail of 8.1, and personal reaction of 8.6, giving it an overall score of 8.4. Same score as the Doctor Strange Supreme Unleashed, except it has a higher overall hype and personal reaction rating, making Automan higher up on the list than the Doctor Strange Supreme Unleashed. Wow, that was a tongue twister to say.
Automan is a really awesome pop. I mean, there's some really good detail going into here, especially for being a Simpsons pop, which is obviously a like 2D animation. So I feel like it translated so well to being a 3D, I guess you could say, a three-dimensional figure. This thing looks awesome. I'm glad that they have his eyes squinted closed and the teeth look really good. The pose, how he's playing the air guitar is awesome. There's no gripes about this pop.
Coming in at number 21, this is number 833 in the pop television lineup. Also from The Simpsons, it is Ned Flanders. Now, this was a Hot Topic exclusive with an overall hype of 9.5, detail of 7.3, and personal reaction of 8.5, giving it an overall score of 8.43, 0.03 higher than Automan.
Ned Flanders is awesome. I mean, I do feel like the Auto is a better pop for detail and stuff like that. There is something about the Ned Flanders that is a little weird to me. I don't know if it's due to the glasses, the way that they do that, but this thing did have a ton of hype because it's Ned Flanders. That's definitely a favorite character from The Simpsons for a lot of people.
We're moving on now to number 20. This is number 1179 in the pop television lineup. From The Office, it is Mo Schrute. Now, this was a New York Comic Con shared with GameStop exclusive. This had an overall hype of 8.4, detail of 8.3, and personal reaction of 8.6, giving it an overall score of 8.43. Same score as Ned Flanders, except it has a higher detail and personal reaction rating, making Mo Schrute higher up on the list than Ned Flanders.
Coming in at number 20 for Moe's makes so much sense to me because this pop is so different than any other pop we've seen from The Office. This is such a, I guess, secondary character, maybe even like a third. It's so cool. I'm so glad that they did Moe's because he looks awesome. I really do like the pose and the scene that this was taken from. And it's good to see not like a Dwight. We're seeing one of Dwight's family members, which is so cool. This is definitely one of the best Office pops that we've seen this year and probably one of the best ones that we've ever seen.
Coming in at number 19, this is number 1 in the pop game covers lineup. From Sonic the Hedgehog 2, it is Sonic. Now, this was a GameStop exclusive with an overall hype of 7.9, detail of 8.3, and personal reaction of 9.2, giving it an overall score of 8.47, 0.04 higher than Mo Schrute.
This is amazing. What a great looking way to start off the game covers lineup. I mean, Sonic 2, great game. This pop looks great. I'm so happy that we are going to be getting this, which is so cool. And I feel like something that does make this pop really, really cool is the kind of sort of hidden Easter egg that they have, where if you have this in America, you have the one kind of cover. And then if it is international, you do have the other cover, which was exactly how the game was with the checkered pattern on it for the PAL region, which is just so awesome. And it really is kind of an Easter egg because I'm sure that a lot of people don't even know about that.
Coming in at number 18, this is number 845 in the pop games lineup. From Dungeons and Dragons, it is the 6-inch Mimic. Now, this was a GameStop exclusive with an overall hype rating of 8.8, detail of 8.5, and personal reaction of 9, giving it an overall score of 8.5, 0.03 higher than the Sonic game covers.
This pop is very, very interesting. It's something that we've never seen before, which is just unbelievable how cool this pop is. Dungeons and Dragons really do a good job of, well, Funko does a good job with the Dungeons and Dragons pops of making them just so much different than anything we've seen, like we seen last year with the gelatinous cube. Whereas now we have this mimic, which is mimicking the pop box of Minsk and Boo from the Dungeons and Dragons lineup, which is just so crazy. There's something just so wonderful about this pop. I mean, obviously, Mimic probably has the ability to kind of do what a Ditto does in Pokemon, where it kind of transforms into other things. So it's just so neat. Whoever thought of this idea definitely does deserve some appraisal because wow, what a great idea to have it be the pop box rather than Mimic transforming into, let's say, actually Minsk and Boo, which would just be a copy of the other pops, I guess you could say, with a different box art, which would be weird.
Coming in at number 17, this is number 1086 in the Pop Disney lineup. From Coco, it is the glow in the dark Alabrige Dante. Now, this is a box lunch exclusive with an overall hype of 9.1, detail of 9, and personal reaction of 7.6, giving it an overall score of 8.57, 0.07 higher than the 6-inch Mimic.
Alabrige Dante is a really awesome looking pop. I mean, Coco is such a wonderful, beautiful movie, and this pop is awesome. I think it being glow in the dark is so smart because there's a lot of different colors going on.
Coming in at number 16, this is number 5 in the pop albums lineup. From My Chemical Romance, it is the Black Parade. Now, this has an overall hype rating of 9.1, detail of 8.2, and personal reaction of 8.6, giving it an overall score of 8.63.
This pop is amazing. I feel like this album is a great album to use to be a pop albums because you just have one standalone character on the cover. It translated so awesome to pop form. I mean, you have that skeleton marching band member and he's marching. It's posed very, very well. And this is arguably one of the best albums of all time.
Coming in at number 15, this is number 641 in the Pop Games lineup. From Sonic the Hedgehog, it is the Flocked Tales. Now, this is a Target exclusive, or more specifically, Target Con exclusive, with an overall hype of 8.2, detail of 8.7, and personal reaction of 9, giving it an overall score of 8.63, same score as the Black Parade, except it has a higher detail and personal reaction rating, making Flock Tails higher than the Black Parade.
Tails is awesome. I feel like this pop alone would be super cool, but then they go ahead and flock it, which is so great. Target exclusive, I think, is cool for this pop. I feel like a lot of the times different stickers will make the pop better in a sense. And I feel like the Target sticker is perfect. The red and white complements this pop very, very well, considering his shoes are red and white, and it just makes it pop very, very well.
Coming in at number 14, this is Pop Star Wars 3-pack. From Return of the Jedi, it is the Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, and Obi-Wan Kenobi Endor pops, or more specifically, we call it the Force Ghost 3-pack. This was a glow-in-the-dark Amazon exclusive with an overall hype of 8.1, detail of 9, and personal reaction of 8.9, giving it an overall score of 8.67, 0.04 higher than the Flock Tales.
This pop is so amazing. I mean, Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I remember watching it for the first time as a young boy and seeing not this version of Anakin, obviously. At the end of the movie, when you see the 3 Force ghosts, like, I'm sure it made a lot of people cry. It definitely made a young MD Shaddy cry, and just such a great moment from the movie. I mean, especially when you think that this is kind of the end of the saga now we have this 3-pack, which is awesome. And I feel like if you get this 3-pack, like, it makes you want to collect the other Force ghosts because I think that they would look really awesome all on a shelf together.
Coming in at number 13, this is number 5 in the GPK lineup from, of course, Garbage Pail Kids. It is Boney Tony. Now, this was an Emerald City Comic Con shared with Amazon exclusive. Actually, this was shared to Hot Topic. I screwed up on the little art there. This has an overall hype rating of 8.3, detail of 9.4, and personal reaction of 8.4, giving it an overall score of 8.7.
This pop is really cool. I think that this is the best Garbage Pail Kids pop, and there are a lot of really cool Garbage Pail Kids pops. But we have seen some pops that are kind of similar to this in a sense where you have face peeling off, like let's say with the pops for V, but we haven't seen anything to this extent where he has the full face unzipped to reveal his true form, I guess you could say, of Boney Tony, which is just so cool. This pop is amazing.
Coming in at number 12, this is number 1033 in the Pop Disney lineup from Emperor's New Groove. It is the Scientist Kronk. Now, this was a WonderCon shared with Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype rating of 9, detail of 8.7, and personal reaction of 8.5, giving it an overall score of 8.73, 0.03 higher than Boney Tony.
Yeah, this is so cool. I'm glad that we did see this version of Kronk. Obviously, we have seen the normal version of Kronk with the original wave of Emperor's New Groove pops. And then we have seen now the Scout Leader kind of version of Kronk. But I feel like this is the version of Kronk that everyone thinks about when you think of Yzma and Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove.
Coming in at number 11, this is number 121 in the Pop Ad Icons lineup. From Frosted Flakes, it is the Retro Tony the Tiger. Now, this is a Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype of 8.3, detail of 8.8, and personal reaction of 9.1, giving it an overall score of 8.73, the same score as the Scientist Kronk, except it had a higher detail and personal reaction rating, therefore making Retro Tony the Tiger higher than Scientist Kronk on this list.
This Retro Tony the Tiger is really cool in multiple different ways. I mean, we have retro ad icons now, which is so cool. Such a great idea because obviously ad icons do evolve from where they started to what they are today, especially when you look at a lot of different things. When this pop came out, I was super happy about it because I'm like, wow, now I can finally add a Tony the Tiger pop to my collection and sort of be satisfied. And then I decided I wasn't fully satisfied and I did buy the OG non-flocked version of Tony the Tiger.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off and also free shipping over $75 in both Canada and the US with duty fees included.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code Funko Popcast for 10% off.
We are now in the top 10 of this top 50 list, so it's about to get insane here. Kicking off at number 10, this is number 33 in the Pop Rides lineup. From the Marvel lineup, it is the Blacklight Ghost Rider. Now, this is a Funko Shop exclusive with an overall hype of 8.2, detail of 9, and a personal reaction of 9.1, giving it an overall score of 8.77, 0.04 higher than Tony the Tiger.
I think number 10 for this pop is a perfect spot. When you look at this pop throughout the time that it's now been released, like you think like, wow, this has got to be one of the best pops of the year. So coming in at number 10 just makes so much sense to me. I mean, this is kind of the Blacklight Pop. I feel like though the carnage that we've seen is worth more value wise, I feel like a lot of people go nuts for this Ghost Rider. So Ghost Rider, I think, was a really nice surprise. And I mean, it's the only pop rides Blacklight Pop, which is really cool. I love the Blacklight Pops, and this thing is awesome.
Coming in at number 9 on this list, this is number 846 in the Pop Games lineup. From Dungeons and Dragons, it is the 6-inch Tiamat. This was a New York Comic Con shared with GameStop exclusive. This had an overall hype of 8.6, detail of 9.9, and personal reaction of 7.8, giving it an overall score of 8.77. Same score as the Blacklight Ghost Rider, except it had a higher overall hype and detail rating, making Tiamat higher than the Blacklight Ghost Rider.
And this is what I'm talking about the Dungeons and Dragons lineup. The pops are so different than a lot of things we've seen. And I can't wait to see what we get next year, because this year was full of bangers, considering that there are 2 pops now on this top 50 list. And Tiamat is just crazy. This is a crazy looking pop. I mean, 5 heads on a dragon that is so detailed. Obviously, you do get the D20 dice with it, which is awesome.
Moving on to number 8. This is number 449 in the Pop Star Wars lineup. Technically, this would be a part of Revenge of the Sith. It is General Grievous. Now, this was a Hot Topic exclusive with an overall hype rating of 7.8, detail of 9.5, and a personal reaction rating of 9.4, giving it an overall score of 8.9.
This pop is just so cool. We wanted a new Grievous, and we finally got one with this Hot Topic exclusive. It's so awesome. I feel like the paint kind of wash that they put on it looks so nice. The pose is pretty decent. I love how he's got the 4 arms. He's got the 4 sabers, which is great. I think there's only one Grievous pop that could ever be better than this, and that is if they were to do a Grievous Pop Rides, but we have yet to see that.
Moving on to number 7. This is number 1032 in the Pop Disney lineup. From Emperor's New Groove, it is Scientist Yzma. Now, this was a WonderCon shared with Funko Shop exclusive, and this had an overall hype of 9.2, detail of 8.9, and personal reaction of 8.7, giving it an overall score of 8.93, 0.03 higher than the General Grievous.
This pop is really cool. It is comparable to the Kronk, considering they are similar pops, but I do feel like this one is the better one detail wise, because the mouth on Yzma looks really, really awesome. I'm not surprised that they are pretty dang close. I think there's only like 4 or 5 pops between the two, so that makes a lot of sense. This is definitely one of the best pops of the year.
Coming in at number 6, this is number 1180 in the Pop television lineup. From Blue's Clues, it is the Flocked Blue. Now, this was a Hot Topic exclusive with an overall hype of 8.7, detail of 8.9, and personal reaction of 9.3, giving it an overall score of 8.97, 0.04 higher than the Yzma.
This is a top 10 list pop for sure. Maybe even top 5. I don't know. This is one of my favorite pops of the year by a lot, by a ton. When this got announced, I lost my mind. I was so happy. Blue's Clues was one of those pops, or not one of those pops, one of those shows that was just one of my favorite shows. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that. I'm so happy they did this. And I really hope that they do continue the lineup, because there's a lot of different pops that they could make, but I'm so happy that we do at least have Blue. And I mean, this is Flocked, man. Come on.
Moving on now to the top 5 portion of this list. This is number 1145 in the Pop movies lineup. From Jaws, it is the shark eating boat movie Moments. Now, this was a GameStop exclusive with an overall hype of 9.7, detail of a solid 10 out of 10, and personal reaction of 7.7, giving it an overall score of 9.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that this pop got a solid detail 10, because it just really is a great pop. We haven't really seen movie moments like this. I mean, movie moments pops are great, but there's just something about this one that seems different than the other ones. I mean, I don't know if it's because you have that really awesome like water base. Like this is almost like a moments pop and a pop town kind of combined. You have obviously two different pops there, which is just so great. Coming in at number 5, I think, is the perfect spot for this pop.
Coming in at number 4, this is number 1162 in the Pop Movies lineup. From Jingle All the Way, it is the Flying Turbo Man. Now, this is an Amazon exclusive with an overall hype rating of 8.7, detail of 8.7, and personal reaction rating of 9.9, giving it an overall score of 9.1.
This is an awesome pop, and I do think the reason why it came so high up on this list is because we've been wanting this for so long. I mean, we've been wanting Jingle All the Way pops, considering it is definitely one of our favorite Christmas movies. And it was one of those sets of pops that kind of similar to Green Day, where we've wanted it for a while and we finally got it in 2021, which was so awesome.
Coming in at number 3, we are at the top 3. This is number 783 in the Pop Disney lineup. From Pirates of the Caribbean, it is the Glow in the Dark Treasure Skeleton Pop Deluxe. Now, this was an Emerald City Comic-Con limited to 4,000 piece, which had an overall hype of 9.7, detail of 9.7, and personal reaction of 9.1, giving it an overall score of 9.5.
The Treasure Skeleton is definitely a pop that people love, and it being 4,000 pieces is pretty crazy. I think this is I think there's only a couple of limited pops to piece counts on this list, and Treasure Skeleton is definitely one of those pops that a lot of people talked about this year. I think that's why it does have an overall hype of 9.7, which is crazy. Obviously, the detail being at 9.7 makes a lot of sense too, because there is a lot of detail, not just with the pop, but with the base that he sits on with all that treasure. I think looks great. The glow in the dark aspect is awesome as well. The reaction, I think, is a little lower because it's a pop that, I don't know, like it's not a crazy character, but it is awesome for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Moving on to number 2 on this list. This is number 1167 in the Pop Television lineup. From The Simpsons, it is, I don't know if you want to actually say the name for it because you can do an impression very well on this.
Stupid Sexy Fighters.
There we go. This was a festival of fun shared with Hot Topic exclusive, which had an overall hype rating of 9.9, detail of 9.1, and personal reaction of 9.5, giving it an overall score of 9.5, the same overall score as the Glow in the Dark Treasure Skeleton, except it had a higher overall hype and higher personal reaction rating, making Stupid Sexy Flanders higher up on the list than the Treasure Skeleton.
This pop is awesome. People went wild for this pop. Even when I went to go buy this, the cashier was saying, like I told her, I said, I'm going, because they had the pops behind the counter, which was kind of odd. I said, I'll pick up one of the Stupid Sexy Flanders. And she said, as you should. And she was talking about how awesome of a pop it is, and definitely like a huge meme kind of moment from The Simpsons. Everyone kind of knows about this moment. Just such a great pop. I mean, he's thick, it looks great. He has the closed eyes like Otto does, which I think looks better than the normal Ned Flanders pop. This pop is just amazing. I'm kind of surprised that it came in at number 2, considering it is such a new pop, but I feel like because of the hype, because there are some good details, especially with those cheeks, and then obviously mine and DK's reaction, it makes it just definitely having to be in the top 5. Coming in at number 2 is crazy. So now let's hear what number 1 was for 2021.
The number 1 pop of the year of 2021, number 1091 in the Pop Disney lineup. From Toy Story, it is the Gamer Rex Pop Deluxe. Now, this is a box lunch exclusive with an overall hype of 9.2, detail of 9.5, and personal reaction of 10, giving it an overall score of 9.57.
There are people that did miss out on the OG Rex. So it's really cool that they do have this new Gamer Rex. And this is just awesome. This was one of those moments from Toy Story 2, which is my favorite Toy Story, where, I mean, I think it's the opening scene from Toy Story 2, if I'm not mistaken. But it was just something that was so interesting to me, how he had that kind of helmet on and he's playing the video game. Just one of my favorite moments, and one of the reasons why Toy Story 2 is my favorite Pixar movie of all time.
All right, so I guess that's it for this top 50 list. Obviously, can't wait to do this again next year for 2022. Who knows what's going to be on the list? If you enjoyed this very special top 50 Funko Pops of 2021 podcast, make sure you smash that like button, comment in the comment section below, and let us know your favorite pop for the entire year of 2021. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition, the last edition of a Funko Popcast for the year of 2021. And we hope to see you guys next week for our first podcast of 2022, the top 10 wish list for 2022. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. Peace in, peace out.